you help ensure that as a city we continue to hold out the same hope for refugee and asylum seekers in the future?
Okay. Who wants to tackle this one first?
The problem here is the British National Party, the EDL, they see around them, their supporters see around them, they're quite ignorant really, they see around them furniture going in, they see queue jumping, that's what they see, that's what they see around them. We get constantly, when I lived in London, we had people who had lived there a long time, income bogus asylum seekers, economic refugees. No, this is how it's seen by the far right, if you want to talk like that. And this is why people feel that they can do nothing about it and how they saved the deposit in Leicester West and I didn't.
I think before we discuss this issue, we need to see the root causes of the refugees and the people, those who are displaced from their country. Why? What are the reasons? I have been in this country since 1963. Before the war in Yugoslavia, Iraq, Afghanistan, now in Libya, there were not many refugees coming over here. It's a deliberate policy of the imperialists to start wars in those countries and make the people refugee and homeless. And it is a pride to the city that they have a policy to accommodate them. They are human beings. It's not their fault if their houses, their schools, their hospitals been demolished and their families being killed. They escape to save their life. And we have the duty to support them. If I'm elected, I will extend all the services to the people, those who are suffering due to the war. I don't believe for a minute that this country hasn't got the funds. If they can spend millions in Iraq, Afghanistan, and now in Libya to have war and kill the people there, they can surely spend money for the housing and other facility to the people.
I'll just start off by saying Mahinda touched on something about the country having so much money to bomb other countries. The truth is, the country may have the money, the city doesn't. We need to be realistic about what we can do in Leicester, not in the country.
It's the people, the cities who provide the money to the central government. That need to be understood.
I think the real question was about how can we carry on providing the same sorts of opportunities we provide in the country, which has been evaded by my fellow candidates before instead of answering. I think there's some really good projects out there, like the Six project, which does a lot for people in refugees and asylum seekers. And I think it's about sharing best practice and replicating that around the city, so we can provide more and more similar services which do help meaningfully rather than just tokenistic. Assist has been doing some brilliant work with refugees and asylum seekers. We need to replicate those type of services again. So,
Lee.
Yeah, I think we need to, there's sort of two aspects to this. You need to be, there are genuine asylum seekers and immigrants who need help and need proper attention. There are a lot of other people who are gaming the asylum system and gaming the refugee system in order to get entry into the UK. I think we need to make sure that we have the right services for the right people who need the help and need the protection, and we need to make sure we've got the money there. But we also need to work closely with the other agencies and make sure that it's the right people who are getting the funds and getting the services they need, because obviously they've come from difficulties, they've come from problems, and they need that protection.
We have a question from the floor.
How are you going to establish then who's a genuine legal person and who's not a genuine claim?
Well, I think there are problems. No, absolutely not.
As a magistrate.
How are you going to work out who the type of services
No, I mean, what you need to do is, obviously, there are agencies like the UK Border Agency who are working and have identified certain people who they know are here illegally and they need working and they need to be identified, and they are limited by what they can do. I think what you say is a very difficult situation to try and identify. Particularly, well, no, I'm not saying a second agent. I said we need to support their agency. That's what no, that's not what I'm saying at all. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they need to work, they need to sort that problem out, and as a city we need to support them so that we can get the services for the right people to the right places.
trying to come in.
Yes. As an MP, I have opposed government policies that have demonised asylum seekers and refugees when they've tried to appease a tabloid press that is more interested in headlines than in the humanity of the people who are actually here seeking sanctuary. I've worked with individual refugees and asylum seekers here in the city as an MP, and done my best, often failed, but done my best to offer them support and help. I've supported those brilliant organisations in the city who have dedicated so much time and energy to helping those refugees, asylum seekers in deep distress in our city, and I've been present and spoken at the launch every year of the study of destitute asylum seekers in our city. That is a shame to our city and to our country. I've supported the City of Sanctuary movement in the city, been pleased to see it grow in the city. I hope it will flourish, and I will give an absolute guarantee that if I am elected mayor, I'll continue the work I've done in the past and continue the support that I've given in the past.
Can I ask the audience for a kind of sense of your response to what you've heard from the candidates on this issue so far? Mang first, and then we'll come to you.
Yeah,
Lady in the
thanks.
pink.
21 years ago, I started work in that building across there, Action Homeless. I went on after 2 years to manage a hostel for homeless women and children and develop that project from 5 units of accommodation up to 26 units of accommodation. I then spent my last 10 years with the Salvation Army as the National Funding Officer for elderly care across the country. I've not heard anything from any of these candidates here tonight that demonstrates they understand anything at all about what it means to be homeless at any age, at any time in their lives, anywhere in this country, let alone this city. We've had glib statements about CPOing all these empty properties. Well, you can only CPO a property if you're going to threaten a CPO, you can only go for a CPO if you've got an alternative plan. The City Council have not got an alternative plan. If they could CPO 7,000 properties tomorrow, if they had the money, they couldn't do it because they haven't got an alternative plan.
Excuse me, we did CPO a lot of properties under the housing renewal strategy.
Yeah.
When we had funding.
A long time ago. They haven't got it now.
But there's no money.
But the other thing is, then we were talking about developing flats. Flats are not popular. People don't want flats. When we talk about homeless people, we tend to think, about single people and people that are living alone. And a lot of homeless people are living alone. But there are a lot of homeless people who are homeless, but they're in families, and they're homeless because they're forced to live with their extended families and 3 or 4 people shoved up in one bedroom with their children trying to struggle to do their homework, but they've got nowhere to do their homework, nowhere to learn, because they're having to live in overcrowded conditions. Those people are homeless as well. And they don't want flats. And even if we did build loads of flats, most of the single people that are homeless around today are under the age of 35, and they wouldn't qualify for a flat because they couldn't get the housing benefit for it today, because the government has put a cap on all that, and you can only go in a shared house. So that means if I was still the 35, which unfortunately I'm not, I expect you can tell that, I would have to live with maybe you and maybe this gentleman here and Rick Moore and half a dozen other people, whether I want to or bloody well don't. I would have to do it. So the other thing, I want to finish on this. Talking about all this working in partnership, and Dave put his finger on the button about this, everything going out for tender. Has anybody ever stopped to think how much time and money it costs all these projects, and I know because I've been there and I've had to damn well do it, how much it actually costs and how much time and work it takes away from the people that we've always wanted to work with, just to tick a load of bloody boxes and dot all the I's and cross all the T's. For people that don't understand what the hell we've all been trying to do anyway, and we've all been doing it very, very well and very, very capably for many, many, many years. And I've not heard anything from these people up here to tell me or to make me understand that they understand what you people here and I